Hello and welcome back to State Farm Neighborhood Tactics. In this edition, we're going to be talking about shells. This was a concept that Skara and I of Players Fame always used to talk about back in the day, and it's a micro synergy within your team comp with 2 to 3 champions that gives you something to do in the game. So a really classic example is Renekton Elise in the top lane. It's super obnoxious. You have split damage types, so it's hard to itemize against. You can always get the shove. Your W from the Renekton sets up the Elise. They can also disjoint turret shots. There's so many little tools in this toolkit that allows them to make this dive happen. Now, what separates a shell from a team comp is it's not really defining how you're going to play out the entire game. They still have Ori and Vayne in this team composition, so it's more of a late game scaling team fight comp. But this allows you to have a proactive play in the early mid game that's going to define some of your strategy. And it fits around your team comp, hence the term shell. Classic other ones were like Rengar Orianna. The Rengar can always gank mid by stealthing in with the ball to deliver it to the rest of the team. You get to get these ganks off mid, blow flashes, and do stuff. So that brings me to today, and I want to talk about FlyQuest and one of the shells that they've kind of been abusing early on in the split. They have been incredible with Twitch and Yuumi. They were using that combination to get a submarine shell is what they were often called. You would have an Evelynn Shen, and one person would abuse the invisibility of the other. And that's kind of what the Yuumi does, able to ride the Twitch to set up some roots while the Twitch spray and prays, and you get all these pickoffs. And so Team Liquid identified that, watching how FlyQuest beat CLG the day before, and they're going to ban out the Yuumi and say, haha, we've defeated your shell. But FlyQuest is not deterred, because there was another part of this composition that I think myself, Team Liquid, a lot of people were overlooking, which is the Wukong. And what this actually becomes is a double stealth pick-off composition. And it's very hard to play against because you never know when you're going to be safe. So when you look at how it actually played out in the game, they were able to tear Team Liquid apart time and time again by making them think they're safer than they are. Here, Twitch is going to come out of stealth. Han's going to see him. He's going to think, okay, I can walk up to the wave. Rakan is showing in the top brush. I will be able to be safe here. But flying out of the bottom corner comes a stealthed up Josedeodo on Wukong. They get this knock up. They get the kill. Hans Sama gets obliterated because he was lulled into a false sense of security by seeing one of the invisible people. Next time around, you're going to see it's a similar situation but reverse. Wukong is going to show on this top ward right here, clearing out some vision. During this time, Hansan was like, okay, maybe I can think about walking up to this wave. Maybe I'll be safe. But this is when the other invisibility comes through. Twitch is going to pop out way before he even gets close to the wave, start trying to murder him. Hans thinks he has a good escape, but it's going to go right into the waiting arms of Wukong, who gets the second knockup. You saw Hans kind of trying to shoot, guessing where the invisible guy was, couldn't quite hit him, gets taken down. This was used by FlyQuest to find pickoff after pickoff after pickoff in this game. And while they didn't end up winning it, it showed some really heads-up drafting and how they can use this double stealth shell to tear teams apart. And hopefully we can get to see some more of that. Now, it's not just me who loves seeing Johnsun on the Twitch. Afro had that thought as well. Let's go to him.
The Twitch pick? Yeah, it's just, good pick. A lot of teams picking into Zeri. You see it in LCK and stuff like that. Twitch just scales better. Longer range, as soon as he gets those items, like he's literally melting everybody. You saw in those fights, like everybody's just dying, and Johnson's, pretty confident on it. He loves playing that kind of stuff. He's like, the variety kind of player, wants to play a little bit of everything, and he has a lot more in store just besides Twitch, but Twitch just right now pretty broken, so.
I love how casual aphromoo is about the threat that Twitch poses to all the rest of the teams, because he's not lying when he talks about hitting max items on that champion and how you just start kind of melting opposing team comps. But then to your point, Mark, I think it's very cool to kind of we all know that Twitch is capable of being a late game 6-item carry. That's the part we know. I think the part that's catching people off guard right now is, as you mentioned, the use of the stealth along with a couple other champion picks, and that's really catching teams off guard. And so far, FlyQuest, much like they were able to do in spring with the Janna top, have found a little bit of a niche that's getting them victories.
It's also really cool to hear Afro talk about Johnsun, just because, Johnsun was one of the people who's like, I want aphromoo back on my team. They seem to get along really well together. They're both very trolly together. Yeah. If you ever listen to like Champ Q comms or anything like that. So it's really cool to see how well they're working together with these compositions, in particular the Twitch.
100%. And I mean, just like the point that you had mentioned, and the fact that you tied it into just the history of compositions in Season 3, Season 2, all that, where it's the same core identity, a lot of these comps that just live throughout. And so the fact that FlyQuest have found their core identity that is going to get banned now. We're going to have you. So, like, good luck with that. As Johnson's is ripping through people on the Twitch, he's not going to have his hands on that.
I hope they don't get rid of it, because you can make the case he's the best Twitch in the LCS right now. I think he's not everyone's playing it, but in his hands, when he got ahead in that game, you could see him just all over the map, getting a bigger and bigger lead. And then when he falls behind, he's like, fine, I'll scale, I'll chill.
Well, and it's also been just kind of interesting to see one team, as you pointed out with Team Liquid, already trying to attack it to a degree. Yes, they got rid of the Yuumi and left a couple other things up. But I'm curious to see the evolution of how teams deal with the draft against FlyQuest specifically. We've got the game coming up in just a moment, so I do want to quickly touch on the Dignitas side of things, because they came alive just last week, finding their first win. Almost found 2 Raz, but the win that they did get came off the back of their mid laner in blue.
Yeah, that's why I don't want people sleeping on this play right here in blue, and also on Dignitas, because it was a 1-1 week on paper, but the way they had done that, going up against C9 and destroying them and then losing on the back half. It was a destruction up until they lost. The Coast Classic. You know?
Did Scar just make another two Scar appearances in one segment?
Over.
It really is.
He's getting too much airtime. F that Scar dude.
Exactly. I love it.
Sorry, if anyone hasn't seen Players, that made no sense to you. Go watch Players, and that will make sense to you.
Don't watch it just for the shade. Anyways. And then, of course, the second game, that they near perfect game in Mortals. So they are developing as a team very realistically. So this game is a lot more competitive in my mind than I would have expected coming into this week.
And it's a slight small shift from what we saw. This is a lot more mid-jungle focus than kind of the bot lane focus that we've been talking about previously with Dignitas. So now going forward, I hope that they continue that into more victories.
Yeah, both teams here hungry for wins heading into week number 3. Dignitas' Neo and Mabry, though, are more than ready for their opponents in week 3. Check it out.
Hey, I'm Mabry, the strategic coach for the Dignitas LCS team.
Hello guys, my name is Neo. I'm an ADC for Dignitas.
Well, Neo, you were playing the game, so why don't you tell us?
It's just the game is so easy for us now. The job's just so easy. It's just farming, chilling in team fight, just win.
There you heard it, guys.
Again, next week, we against FlyQuest TSM. I think it should be easy for 2-0, easy down.
I think both games are winnable. I don't think we actually were able to beat FlyQuest last split, but we should definitely be able to do that. And versus TSM, I mean, Rivers versus Maple. We're also playing versus Pika, who's a good friend of mine, so it's always nice to win versus your friends.
Thank you guys for supporting us. I love you guys.
Hello everyone and welcome back. We are still the Doug Duo. This hasn't changed. I want to point out Mabry used to play Academy level as Impactful, if any of you were watching the B-Leagues 6 years ago. That's who he was, AD carry player. Pretty good player overall, actually. But good to see him still around here. Strategic coach for Dignitas, and they're saying it's going to be a 2-0 week. All right, FlyQuest, the team they're looking to defeat here, 2-4. They would tie in the standings. See if they can happen, because yeah, it was a stomp when we saw them last. On Sunday, they completely stomped Immortals, and so if that is the level of play, which I want to see out of this team, I think that is their ceiling, is like, I think they can play like a top 6 team, then, you know, I want to see them then beat FlyQuest.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. I mean, FlyQuest also had a good week last week, though. They took down CLG, you know, who was coming into this week tied for first, and they had a very long game against CL, which was pretty back and forth, so they were competitive against 2 of the best teams in the league. And they are going to be looking to continue that success here against Dignitas as well, who overall has had much more of a struggle. I was really impressed by Blue, not just in their win, but even in their loss last week, his Azir game. He like almost 1v9 that game. It was against C9, I want to say.
Yeah.
So really did step up big time. And I think Dignitas is going to need that. They have to have someone who's truly a threat and can create their own advantages because the meta is just not really lending itself towards a lot of early jungle action. And it was really them last split that were relying on River to kind of create advantages for their lanes, and then their lanes would be able to slam home the win. It was really very rare that we saw Dignitas kind of creating their own leads independent of their jungler. So in this new slower meta, that is more difficult to do. So either River needs to kind of buck the trend and try to go aggressive anyway to make something happen, or Dignitas has got to be able to set themselves up for success.
Yeah, so far leaving Gamsu on Island tends to not work too well for him. We get Corki hovered right away. Toucouille, I believe, hasn't played the champion yet this split. Year long though, 4. So it would actually be it's actually currently his 4th most played champ of the year. So certainly well in his wheelhouse. Philip saying, "This is what you want." It is? Okay, cool. And he's going to lock in Corki for his mid laner.
They're not really showing their hand whatsoever. A lot of marksmen are up. Lucian not banned out, Senna not banned out. Two that are almost always taken off the table alongside the Zeri as well as the Kalista. Lucian Nami could be the option here for Bio and Neo. Seems like it would fit the style that they want to go towards. Ezreal Karma also up, so a lot of the premier duos are available, and will be interesting to see if we're going to get something, like a Senna TK or a Zeri Yuumi to be able to answer. Twitch is also available, but I don't think you're going to want to play Twitch, into the Lucian Nami. We heard Afro talking about it as kind of like, it's an answer for them into the Zeri. A lot of pros just consider the Zeri Twitch lane to be a farm lane, where the Twitch then just outscales. Yeah. Looking like it's likely to be Senna TK. I do think that there are some picks that are better than the TK at times, but we're not really seeing them. Most people are kind of defaulting towards that Tahm Kench.
Ooh! I actually would have liked to see it. Honestly, I think, as you mentioned, there are so many good other pairings with Senna. I think you can't ban them all, as long as you're practiced as aphromoo, but it is Senna TK here. Going to be their second play of this duo so far this year. Split long, it'll be their first, but again, very, very powerful. And generally speaking, Tahm Kench can withstand that damage pretty well, and Senna should be out of reach. So I actually like this lane as an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is quite strong. And if you draft Jarvan into the Tahm Kench, that kind of feels bad in my opinion. You're looking to actually dunk and isolate someone. They are going to lock it in. This was kind of the River special in spring, where he was able to really run teams over with the Jarvan. That's why they got so many of the early wins, and then Jarvan just started getting banned against them all the time because he pretty much always won when he played it. We'll see if he's able to find that success here, but again, I mean, you ult onto the Senna, he's going to get devoured out of that by the Tahm Kench ultimate. Yep. You go onto the Corki, Corki's going to Valkyrie out of there. So we'll see what sort of action he is going to make happen. But so much of the Senna TK lanes to me is just the accuracy with Senna with the Q. If you can get those pass-through Qs that are both healing the Tahm Kench and consistently hitting your enemies, you can kind of stabilize or even win almost any matchup. So it really is up to Neo and Biofrost to avoid a lot of those so they can continue to stay aggressive and punish the TK every time he tries to step forward to farm.
The one time I remember seeing this lane matchup was week 2, day 1 of the LCS. Cloud9, Sven was actually ahead of the Lucian in CS, as like without lane intervention, it was just like their 2-on-2 was literally just better. And I would say that outscaled pretty hard because just like the best scaling support, close with Yuumi, but regardless, again, very, very good late game. And so you're happy with that one no matter what. So yeah, do you want to see what the lane looks like? This is, by the way, 6 unique champions in 6 games for blue. So is still going down the list right here. But yeah, largely aiming toward the early game, reminiscent of the TSM draft, right? Where it was this 1-2-3 with a Lee Sin, and it's all about early pressure. Vi off the table now.
And a lot of teams that actually do play that sort of style, have been playing more early game or mid game, are going towards the Ahri. So I'd be interested to see if Ahri is going to be a pick here for blue, or if they're going to be leaving that pick for last here and just blinding Gamsu. That has been what they've been doing, is mostly just blinding Gamsu and kind of leaving it on island, which I think fits the bill of what people were expecting from Gamsu, is that he's supposed to be Mr. Weak Side. But at the same time, I still think you need to give him some help, and I feel like Dignitas have really kind of bailed on him a little bit too hard at times.
Sure.
I think back to especially to their TL game where, very early stages, but he was doing fine in the 1v1 against Whippo, and he was just getting gank after gank after gank, and not even getting his wave reset, or a little help from that from River, which does make things very hard.
Interesting.
It is going to be blinding, well, no, not answering the mid, and then they're going to have 5th pick top here, which of course makes sense because Corki's already locked in, so you don't need to save your mid for last.
Yeah.
Feels like a little bit disjointed from what the rest of the team is.
Yeah, so you mentioned the early game. I looked at their drafts from last week where they looked a lot better than over in week 1, and it's like, okay, when they went against Immortals, Yasuo mid, he's like a 2-item spike champion.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of goes down from there, but like you're really happy on like Zeal, and you're really happy on 2 items, and like Gnar is like a pretty solid top lane over there, and like, yeah, you got a lot of early pressure, and they won really fast, right? The Cloud9 game, Gangplank, Volibear, Lucian, Nami, like a lot of pretty early stuff there as well, so this is Dignitas taking a bit of a step back. Obviously, we'll see what pick number 5 is going to be. If it's going to be like an Ornn or something, they're really going to go full late. But yeah, Lucian, Nami, Jarvan is 3 points of early pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Xin on the other side, kind of answering some of that early aggression here.
Oh, this is really good.
Camille coming out from Philip.
Mordekaiser claps Camille, by the way. This is a great 1v1. And if she ever like ults someone else, you just like grab her and like turn off the ulti, basically.
Yeah, it's also a pretty nice interaction against Tahm Kench because Tahm Kench obviously cannot ult people out of that. So there are possibilities to go really well with that. But we'll see, how Philip is actually able to play this out against Gamsu. Gamsu has not been having the best time. Philip has not been the most dominant laner, but I will say, for this 19-year-old player, he's doing a lot better than I expected. A lot of people, I think, had very low expectations for him coming out of Academy because he was, rough, especially in lane in Academy. But he's been playing with quite a bit of confidence on the LCS stage, so I've been pleased to see that, and it's going to be fun to continue tracking his development. Right now, he is on Ignite TP, which does give you the ability to sometimes win out in these 1v1s, and Camille sometimes can go towards a little bit of MR, go towards Hex Shrinker, things like that if you want to try to really prioritize the 1v1. But so much, I feel like, of these early matchups is, are you able to play well around your passive on Camille, and how many of the outer rings of the tactical sweep can you hit to be able to get the bonus damage and the healing on the return?
Right.
Because I agree, it requires kind of outplay and finesse from Camille to win out in this 1v1, where Mord just kind of is looking to walk you down.
Yeah, he's gonna look really good, and I think he has so many good targets. The Zhao can ult, and he's like, I'm immune to auto attacks outside the circle. It's like, that's cute, you're in the death realm. We're just gonna go hit your front line now, bye, and Mord wins that 1v1. Like, every single 1v1 in this one, he's gonna win. He'll beat Tahm Kench 1v1, he'll beat Senna on support 1v1, he'll beat Camille, he'll beat Zhao. Corki maybe kites him with like a package or something, but every Mord ult is a good Mord ult and meaningfully affects the FlyQuest team. I think it's actually maybe the best 10th pick they could have gone for in this draft. I love it here. I think Gamsu is the player of the match for me. I think it'll be really exciting to see what he can do with it. We are, of course, on to the Rift, and we'll see if FlyQuest move up to 500 if they can beat Dignitas, or if Zig manages to tie around 6th place for the winner of Fly.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. Mord, I've found in competitive can be pretty hit or miss. Mord from ahead is really dominant. Mord from behind starts feeling really useless at times because, if you can't win out in the Death Realm, then there's not a lot going for you.
I have fed a lot of Mordekaiser games. There's always someone you can 1v1. I mean, if you're having a really tragic game, okay, you can't, but it's like,
yeah,
I think I can fight Tahm Kench.
I mean, you're not going to die to Tahm Kench, but this is a farming Tahm Kench. So I actually think if you're having a bad game, you just don't kill him during the Death Realm. Yeah. He's not going to kill you. You're just not going to kill him either.
At least you turn off his ulti. I'm not saying it's great, but at least you can do something.
Yeah, there's always something, of course, that you can do.
But yeah, you're right. You're a fighter. Without gold, you don't do your job very well.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that laning phase does go. And if they want to play more towards him, right? If you're going to actually 5th pick this on red side, if you're going to try to get this matchup that you're feeling pretty comfortable with, we'll see how effectively River can play towards it, or if he doesn't want to anyway. Maybe they just leave him on an island and he just sits under his tower even with the Mordekaiser, right? Because they do have Lucian Nami on the other side of the map, which is generally where you're going to want to be playing towards. Neo and Biofrost are not leashing. River, of course, going to be starting his blue by himself, where Jose did get a leash there from the Senna TK. So we'll see if Neo and Bio can get an advantage in the 2v2 as a result of that.
Yeah, interesting. Josedeodo actually didn't smite his red buff, actually just autoed it all the way down. I think that's generally incorrect. We saw from River, if your second camp is up, burn your smite. Level 1 is your lowest DPS point, so then smite doesn't scale in damage, right? So as a jungler, if your next camp is already alive, smite and get level 2, your DPS goes higher from there. He's smiting chickens, which, again, not exactly his high DPS, but whatever. We check out the next part of this one is, yes, we get the T-tours of mid lane trading, top lane trading. Gamsu obviously does take the swipe back, but, as long as he waits out Phil's passive, generally going to have pressure here.
Yep. But the wave is a little bit awkward for him, right? And he knows that Jose got leashed on bot side. So you know that Xin is actually clearing bot to top, which does make you a little bit nervous in this sort of situation where the wave is getting stalled out. Philip did actually a really good job as well of hitting all the tack sweeps. So he was, holding that wave, cannot really fight for the push. But Jose not heading up there, and River is there to cover. So this is a nice little adjustment, not anything too complicated, but this is something that I've felt Dignitas has really failed to do, even just covering the minion wave reset, which can turn your lane from going really well into pretty much unplayable at times if you don't get the help you need from your jungler.
It looks like, actually, since River cut out Raptors from his camp, basically kind of sitting around, he's going to be a camp behind. They still may meet for this scuttle, and indeed they will, but Mordekaiser should have pressure. But there's still going to be a fight here. Smite is up for Jose. It's not for River. I'm surprised he even wanted to try. Toucouille, yeah, I mean, this is always smited. I'm not sure what they're accomplishing. Is going to go jump in, get a slow, but River lost a ton of time. I understand covering top, but he's also just down 2 camps now.
Yeah, because he actually skipped the camp.
Oh, huge damage. Oh, he's almost dead.
Man, they didn't use the Ignite. That is definitely a mistake there. Bio did not use the Ignite. I'm not sure if he was actually not ever in range, but it feels like that should have been a kill there onto aphromoo. Nearly was, but they don't get it, and he's just going to be able to TP back.
And the wave goes down, at least TP, yeah, keeps him safe, but that is the scary part about running teleport. We have seen it more and more. Just like, oh, I'll just run TP, it's fine. But that lack of a combat summoner really can matter. An exhaust, a cleanse, a barrier, things like that can change the math. And yeah, if Bio had walked up for Ignite, even a Flash Ignite, which yeah, it feels weird, but that's just first blood.
I mean, first blood is just always worth it when you're playing in this sort of an aggressive lane as well. With the wave of the tower, it would mean Aphro would miss out on all of that. They still do create a significant CS advantage, right? They had a 2-wave advantage here on their first base. It means that the only buy for Aphro is a Ruby Crystal and a health pot. Like, that is not a happy buy that he got there. On the other side, going to be feeling much better about what Neo is coming back with, and we'll see if they can kind of continue to put on that pressure here. If you can chunk him out one more time now with a TP missing, that is going to mean big things for the 2v2.
The wave getting pushed in. Nice little trades by Blue. Obviously wants to get his first strike on as often as possible. I think generally speaking, Viktor has an easier time triggering that rune, and when you deal damage, you turn off your opponent's first strike. So
yeah,
may actually well be ahead. I'm going to check actually first strike gold income so far, just because I'm very curious.
I mean, the laser is definitely a lot easier, right? Corki generally is going to try to walk forward and just proc it with the Gatling gun, because even if you just get one tick of the Gatling gun on them, then yours is active and you can kind of try to trade back a little bit into it.
Interestingly, Corki's ahead. So 54 gold earned for the Viktor, 69 nice for toucouille. It's low-hanging fruit. What do you want me to do? The number was there. I can't choose. Maybe the gold lead will grow by 200. We'll get the 2-hit, but. Yeah, Blue, the recall is far enough away that Blue would take a full turret shot, maybe almost 2 if you wanted to stop the recall.
Yeah, so, and toucouille was never going to base anyway. That's why he doesn't actually go for it. toucouille has no TP, right? So there's no shot you base with like 3 waves right at your tower against a pre-6 Viktor who has no items. I think if Blue thought it was a real base, you're willing to actually take a tower shot, right? If he's at like 20% HP or something, and you're like, you need this recall. But in that case, I think correct decision there from Blue to not step forward. But doing a good job just kind of harassing at the tower. toucouille, dead even in farm here, up just 1 CS. But Jose has the wraparound, and Blue could be in trouble because he has not been spotted.
Okay. But yeah, ultimately...
reset. They don't know where J4 is.
Okay, shoving the wave, not a problem. This will be a pretty safe one. So Blue, how long are you willing to take this? Of course, Squint isn't more than enough, so you can always... Q and get a shield for a bit. The more you kite the melees, less they hit you. He's actually kind of letting melees hit him kind of at all times. But trims it down to about 3 minions. Should be able to recall off this. It's going to be pretty tight, but I believe he'll be okay with it.
Man, CS in bot lane is really concerning. TK against Lucian already is a pretty big gap. And we'll see how much they can actually harass him on these range minions. Up the top side, though, you're seeing fairly even overall. The Bramblevest rush, I think, is just kind of a nod towards the fact that it is both Jose and Philip, but I don't love the build. I don't actually think that the healing reduction is very useful whatsoever against Camille. It's like, what are you cutting? Tack sweep?
You're cutting Grasp.
Well, yeah.
And eventually Divine Sunder, which is always the build.
But like, who cares at this point in the game, right? I actually think like early Rylai's or rush towards Leeching Leer is way more powerful for your laning phase. So it does feel very defensive, but if his job is to just play weak side and he says, hey, I'm going to need this later on, then maybe I can understand the argument. But definitely not a fan. I'd even way prefer Tabby's, because I think Tabby's is super effective against the physical damage topside, and also has use against Corki because it cuts a percentage of the auto attack damage.
Right, it'll work on his passive.
Exactly. So it's like Tabby's are just a really strong item in this game. Move speed is super important for Mord, and it would help keep you safe. But neither here nor there. It doesn't really affect too much, as Neo and Biofrost just going to sit back, knowing Jose was in that one side.
Huge damage. Blue gonna have to flash. Rocket's still on cooldown, but that was huge. Really well done by the FlyQuest mid laner. Blue forced out. Does not have TP, so yeah, shoving this wave ASAP, deny the farm.
Yeah, going to be able to deny at least a little bit. We'll see how much. If it's on a cannon wave, they won't be as bad for Blue. Nice little sidestep, though, from Philip. That's kind of how you have to play it. You really want to try to dodge as many of those claws as possible. That is where you really get punished if you get pulled back in, especially on your hook shot.
Yeah, so no cannon, so pretty much the entire wave will die to the tower. You save like 7 turret shots. If it is a cannon, you basically lose nothing. They're going to have some of it drop. I think most melees are gone, but it also gives them pressure with top lane pushed in. They still see Mord on the wave. This will be first Herald pretty much on the timer. A lot of that earned by the great trading out of the FlyQuest mid laner, but also just, solid landing out of Philip here as well. So FJ still gold. Solid 200 lead for the Corki. Smart by Dig. They do have infinite bot lane pressure. They're able to trade back for a Drake. Probably still favors FlyQuest because one of these turrets has got to be getting low and will be a very meaningful crash from Shelly.
Does feel like the bot lane for FlyQuest has stabilized a little bit. The lead is not getting any worse at the very least there for Aphro. up to about 50 CS. We'll see how many minions there are actually to collect. It looks like it's about even, so yeah, this is the real CS advantage right now. Watch this one more time. Just straight in. It's just Blue is out of mana. He's trying to reset the wave and just kind of gets caught and punished for that. When you're low on mana, you push out that wave so incredibly slow. It just means really a poor base timing generally from him. The wave state was not where he needed it to be, and rightfully so. toucouille goes right in on top of him, knowing that there's no recourse for Blue, who now has no flash, could be in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that could have been a lot of damage. Maybe a kill, I don't know, but yeah, close one all the same, able to sidestep. And we still sit out this very tight game. Gold nearly equal now. Huge farm lead, momentarily at least for the Mordekaiser. Still pretty solid for Lucian. The wave meets again with plus 19. Top lane, similar vote, but I believe there is still farm.
Massive wave.
Yeah, okay.
Massive wave for Philip. So we'll see,
It'll be like 6.
Yeah, well, or, if he can harass him on a lot of it and actually deny it, then it could be a pretty big deal. But is a good, I don't know, 12, 14 minions or whatever there, something like that for him to collect. So should be able to trim that lead quite a bit. But was having to play pretty defensive, it felt like, for the last minute or two. Prior to that, have been just about dead even.
Oh, nice little trade right there. Johnsun, of course, next time he cues anything, is going to get that all right back. Also very typical for Fleet to be the option, which is also some more sustain. If you get everyone in the auto, you get the full value of the heal. Jose walking through defensive wards. An aggressive one here, we'll see him, so now that's known. Nice double Q, that's a slow into a tongue lash. Jumps away from the eventual route, so no gank.
Yeah, good trading though, and I have to say, thus far, J4 not really been able to find much of anything in this early game, right? And if you're drafting Jarvan just to farm, I do like how the Xin scales a lot more. They do have the wraparound here. We'll see if they can find a play.
Gonna get much here. aphromoo gonna go for the W. He's not done so. He chose to grieve for that escape, but that means no way out. First blood finally claimed in the 11th minute of the game.
Yeah, well played there. They get down to that bottom side. They do get the kill on Afro. You don't need to expend the ulti because from that situation, if he flashes, then you use the J4 ulti to follow, and that kill is pretty much guaranteed. Unfortunate, the first blood did not go to Neo, but still a good play here. And we'll see how much they can actually pressure back around mid lane as FlyQuest is closing in here on Blue, wanting to put on a little bit of pressure. They're just going to crash the Herald here, get a bit of gold down as they have no minion wave.
Timed enough, though, that it will get stopped by the minions. It will actually trade him right away. Corki, yeah, too much health to go for plate number 3. Would have loved to. It's always really nice when because Herald almost always does a little bit over 2,000. That's the minimum is 200, is 2,000 itself. So like, if you can get most of it in the next plate, do an auto and then solo kill, like plate number 3, you end up getting actually a lot of value that way. It's 320 to the mid laner in that case. Not the case here, though. And as the wave gets cleared back and forth, it is still that very small FlyQuest lead. The Herald crash basically making up for the first blood in bottom lane.
Yep. And we'll see where they're going to try to look to fight, because for now, both teams pretty happy to play this early passive game. Lucian and Nami are expecting to continue to stack those dragons. They didn't take like a super fast first dragon by any means. Second one will be around 14 minutes. I'm expecting FlyQuest to probably look to challenge at dragon number 3. And if both teams are just continuing to play kind of at this sort of pace, that may be where we're going to look for that next big contest, unless Dignitas can find more plays. Because I think it's beneficial for River with the early Mythic, just continue to look for ganks, to continue to try to look for those sort of plays. There's aren't that many to be found, as Corki, Viktor, there's not really a lot of gank setup from the Viktor. On the bottom side, it's Johnsun and Afro kind of playing mostly under their towers, and a dive is very difficult against that lane. So not a ton of options for him unless Camille's like really overextended or toucouille's really overextended.
So wave goes down again to the bottom lane, 1 plate taken, and we still wait for the next big aggressive play, thankfully for Dignitas. The second Drake comes up soon. It feels like one with all the bot pressure should feel pretty good. Mythic is in for the Viktor, which should even help that one. It feels like this should be pretty comfy. Leeching Lear still in a Divine Sunderer. And as the recalls come in, it is not Unleash Teleport. It'll be 20 seconds after the Drake spawns if they're looking for a ward TP. If the game can be delayed, Gamsu and Philip can TP in really spicy spots.
Yeah, and that's something we didn't really touch on with Mordekaiser, is that it's really nice for objective takes. You just ult away the jungler, your jungler finishes off that dragon, makes it pretty much impossible to contest unless Jose builds a QSS, which I don't see him doing anytime soon whatsoever. So it is something to really keep in mind. That is going to make that a lot more complex. If FlyQuest do give up the first couple dragons, then start to challenge at 3, if Gamsu's there every time, well, that fight becomes a lot harder.
Well, to look, and though you can see Philip has actually walked to mid lane. Of course, you can always TP back to top to take a wave. As Philip is here. He's getting rid of wards right now. Josedeodo spotting, so it is FlyQuest with all 5 in this river. Package on inventory. and then say, yep, you're giving it to us, right? This is ours. We don't care that we're on Scuttle right now. TP burned by
They'll
the,
just TP top,
Camille, which
now
might
they
mean
lose this.
That's too early then. Wait,
Yeah.
okay, that is such a disjoint. If they think they own it, just stick around, lose 100 gold, take a dragon. That is always worthwhile. So Philip, I don't know if the call was, never mind, we can't do it. I don't know, that felt weird.
No,
but Mord was in base, he TPs away, and they give up Drake.
No, they absolutely wanted to actually do that, for sure. Because toucouille even picks up package, right? And they're first to make the move. They are first to actually release the dragon. But as soon as Camille TP's top and shows, they know that Gamsu can TP down and they have a 5v4 and they will lose that fight. So all of FlyQuest has to bail out. toucouille,
Almost. Still really good damage. That package lands, that's flash force every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the slow alone makes it just guaranteed that you're hitting the skill shots. The slow is so significant, plus the burn damage. But definitely a disjoint on the TPs. And that is something that I think Philip is going to have to work on, that I think he has struggled with over these last couple weeks, is that his TPs are often late or not really on the same page with the rest of the team. I do think when you're coming to that LCS level, that's something that's going to get punished every single time. And it felt like, FlyQuest knew it as soon as he shows going top. Just didn't really have any opportunity to try to push for it.
Yeah, I understand maximizing, right? Trying to maximize income. Like, okay, cool, like, we still see more top. It's not unleashed yet. Like, that's okay. Like, he can't show up in time. And it's just like, yeah, the whole thing is just like, not quite there. 5 seconds difference, and they're fine. But yeah, definitely a mistake. Too bad. 2 Drakes now for Dignitas, as we have a relatively slow game. Just the 1 kill on the board. Second Herald up soon. The first one was killed basically on, in inventory already. Sorry, Jose, I just watched him kill it. So second will be summoned soon. It will always kill mid turret. And the other turret's actually very low, so mid most likely the direction it goes.
Yeah, nice little sidesteps there from Philip. His movement has been pretty good, dodging out on a lot of these Qs and Es, as you definitely have to in this sort of a matchup. But Gamsu not willing to pull the trigger yet on the ultimate. Down on this bottom side is just Afro by himself. Johnsun trying to get back up here, but with turret plates falling, this tower is just going down very, very quickly. I think they can just finish it, to be honest.
Yeah, they know Camille has no TP. I guess they don't see her. No, she's actually fighting with Mordekaiser. So yes, that's going to be 1. Then we've on a 2. A quick chomp for Afro to maybe spin him back out, get some move speed. Lets him get away from the range. But yes, first turret claim. Gamsu actually takes the solo kill onto Philip.
Oh.
They knew top couldn't show. They knew mid was locked in. They go for the turret to go for the kill. Meanwhile, Gamsu is crushing it up there.
Yeah, Dignitas winning out on both sides. They get that first tower bot. They get the solo kill top. We'll have to see exactly what went down with that. The ultimate on cooldown, so assuming he uses hookshot, and then you ult him in and just try to run him down. Riftmaker complete with that. Gamsu is now going to be really, really strong. Has the tier 2 boots and the Bramble Vest above what Philip has, as they both have their mythics completed. So Dignitas cruising thus far, but the gold's still very, very even. toucouille has been outlaning blue, up a good 20 CS almost at this point. I mean, toucouille is farming ridiculously fast. And he's going to hit 200 CS here right around 17 minutes.
Right. There's not enough minions, unfortunately.
No.
So it's going to be 199 at best, I think, or, something like that.
Yeah.
Not before 17? I mean, why even try,
What's the point?
Yeah, all my homies get 200 CS at 17 minutes, so... Sorry, toucouille.
Yeah, all your homies combined. I've played.
Yeah, exactly. we got the 3 and 17 TF who's got 12. There's the ulti, just like, and you got nowhere to go.
Yeah, just kind of wanted to reset the wave. Very far up there. Gamsu just flashing in, finishing him off. Just nowhere to go, and that is the weakness of when you're not playing flash on the Camille. Did not have the flash for the mobility after that. The hookshot was used early, trying again to reset this wave, but it's just such an awkward position for Philip to be in, and that's why Jose is up here.
Well, it goes for the dunk yet again. Gamsu should have the shield, as long as he can, but isn't enough damage. Oh, he pulls one in, but yes! Philip gets the kill. Jose drops Agar with a flash at the end. A 2-for-1 kill topside.
Nice punish on the fact that the ultimate is down there from Gamsu, using Johnson's ult to help facilitate that dive. Now Gamsu, on his own, does get taken down. We'll see if Dignitas can get anything done on the other side of the map. For now, it just looks like it's going to be a little bit of push down on the bottom side, and Johnsun not being answered right now, so he's just shoving this in. And they're trying to establish some line of vision here. You can see just moving in, getting a shallow line of vision there on the mini-map, trying to potentially contest here at this red buff. As River has a smite, is in the area.
And if the red buff goes in, ooh, really close. Smite fight. I saw 92 health in that one, but it goes to Josedeodo. No smite burned by River, but that is at least a buff secured. Gold very close between these teams. 2 Drakes, third one up soon. And Dignitas ready for that one here as well. Again, on pace for a sub 25-minute Dragon Soul. Package should be available.
But there's no vision at all for FlyQuest, right? Like, establishing their vision is such an important part of this. Philip does have TP, he's topside. Jose's going topside for a scuttle. I'm not sure if they're actually going to contest. I kind of feel like they're not, given that toucouille looks like he does not have package yet. So toucouille is not sitting on his package. Philip's topside. I think they're just giving this one up, which feels a little bit surprising when they were willing to fight at second, but are not willing to fight at third. They will be able to trade that mid-tier 1 for sure for this because they're dropping Herald. And maybe take away some camps on top side, maybe try to then move up towards that top lane tier 1 and try to get 2 towers for the trade. But that is sole point here at 19 minutes for Dig.
So we'll go to the Corki though, plus 300 out of him now as we get to see the mid lane go in. Quick engage there in the front line. Ulti out of Josedeodo, still buying a lot of time there. In goes Jarvan, Viktor stunned for a second, but now aphromoo grabs him to safety. He's gonna be just fine. No engage, really, no kills to be found. Mid lane wave, and they're gonna cut off most of FlyQuest, so they get some load time with this turret. Philip, I mean, looking around the flank, but as long as Gamsu's holding ult, any flanker is immediately not threatening anymore, and that's going to be turret falling, so well done. Dignitas, they already got first turret earlier on. They get the Ink to Drake, and they trade back the objective that FlyQuest tried to cross. Here comes Philip, goes for the ult, he doesn't get much done, goes towards River, and there's the dunk back. It's going to be Gamsu over the solo kill. Package looks pretty solid, but not going to get much of a kill. How much damage will Philip lose? Because he's down to 300. The re-engage comes across, and Gamsu's left alone. He survives long enough. Philip brings him back in for a 5v1 kill.
Nicely done. You know, getting the ult there from Gamsu is not able to actually burst down Philip, though, as you say, and then he's out of position as the rest of Dignitas was pushed back by that package it looked like from toucouille, and now straight onto the Baron. This feels like a risky one right on 20 minutes here. With a blue buff Viktor around, they can push him off, but low health bars on Neo, no mana on Biofrost, and now Blue's getting chunked out.
Damn, it has the Valkyrie away though.
He's just 1v4.
Close, okay. Holding him off for longer. I think he's still putting damage down. 140 health left on the red buff. 4k HP. River has a flag, he has a smite, he has an ult. He does have the way to steal it.
Expire.
But they're gonna flip. Jumps in way too low on the health. Oh, but Viktor's in to make him even lower. A double kill so far. Jarvan drops and Jose still has the smite. toucouille able to get the last shot across. Baron is claimed. The 2-for-1 fight with a Baron, it ends up being the right play for FlyQuest.
Very scrappy stuff. toucouille making all the difference, it feels like, in these last couple plays. First, pushing back Dignitas away from Gamsu so they can isolate Gamsu and actually kill him off. And he had landed so much chunk that when Dig is coming over to try to contest here, he's literally 1v4 zoning, keeping them away from the dragon there. They're able to grab the dragon for themselves here as well. This is that initial play, much later on. In he goes. The ulti, it looked like, over the wall came back up for Blue. They're able to combo, get that double kill onto Blue, which was very big, but Jose stays alive, has the smite available, is able to secure the Baron for FlyQuest.
Yep.
And now we have to see how much more can they get with this, because the push is going to become very, very frightening, and Corki already on 2.5 items now.
Yep.
His poke is really going to be ramping up.
2 minutes to go. Thankfully for Dignitas, the Baron buff will end before that climactic Drake spawns. But because of the Baron take, I think this Rebel Baron power play may well go positive, may find another tower for themselves, already at 1,500 gold on it. Want to see where they can go from there, but yeah, the items are coming through. Shadow Flame is indeed in for Blue, finished it after the previous fight. Collector in for Neo, so we can really do some decent damage as long as you're not stacking armor, and realistically, few members of FlyQuest really are.
Yeah.
We'll see if he has the aphromoo, it's not going to look too great, but if he can actually hit Corki, it's going to be pretty happy for him.
Yeah, Afro is definitely not who you want to hit, and I think Jose's probably going to go Death Dance second. Already has Tabby, so he's going to have a bit of armor. But definitely if you can get towards those carries, it will be very effective. And Philip is on Merc Treads with no armor, so he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage from that as well. That is much more of like a 2-item spike build. And we've talked about this in the past. If you want to spike on 3, it's much more building towards like an LDR or PD or whatever, plus the IE. But this is a very strong 2-item power spike. And if that's the best you think you can do for this next dragon, that is huge.
Oh no, Blast Blend hit. River's in a bad spot. Will respawn before the Drake does, but he's still going to lose his life. A quick Tahm Kench ult for safety. Going to chomp in. Gamsu, not a whole lot to do. Saves the ulti, burns at the last second. And now with some Xin Zhao stats, will just die at the end anyway. Good damage to the Viktor, though. Still going to try for a little bit longer. But no, it's not going to look too good. aphromoo still in the front line, has a shield. toucouille pushed away, but Blue's going to run out of HP, gets a quick stun. But is there enough going on? A root on the Neo. He's going to likely drop as well. Dives in. The double auto would have killed the Corki, but it's not going to happen. Team fight massive, 4-1 for FlyQuest. They opt into a losing fight, and it goes worse for Dignitas.
Yeah, it all fell apart there for Dig. the betrayal on the blast cone. It looked like, not sure who actually hit it, but sent River back in to die. And now they're getting so much on the tail end of this Baron buff. It looked like they had withstood the push here from FlyQuest, had kind of waited out that Baron, but all of a sudden, multiple towers drop. They get all the kills, all with the very end of that Baron buff. Now Corki at 3 items and pieces here. Let's see this one more time. All right, who hits this? Was this a misclick? He's trying to click Wolves?
Nope. Bio hit it. Bio autoed it before he even EQ'd over.
But why?
I don't, maybe a misclick, he wanted to move over?
Yeah, that has to be a misclick. I can't see any other reason for it. But so unfortunate for River. And so they're kind of just like forced into this fight, and now they've definitely got to try to fight this.
You hope they haven't bought, and I believe toucouille may actually not have bought since the previous fight.
He has, he's on 3 items.
Okay, well then good luck with this one. They're gonna try, of course. Mordekaiser is down, Smite is up. If you win the Smite fight, suddenly get Dragon Soul, the game feels a lot closer. And it would be winnable. I would say Dragon Soul nearly ties the scoreboard.
Yeah, the poke is really what they have to deal with here. FlyQuest are not rushing it because they know that is the option for Dignitas. And they're just going to try to look to whittle you down with the Corki. We got to see how much they can hit.
But the longer they wait, the closer we get to Mord ulti and like a 100-0 Smite fight. So we're 5 seconds away from that reality, where Dig is like, look, just burn this thing, all ult Sin Zhao, and it's yours,
poke,
baby.
Man.
But yeah, that poke is going to hurt. How many will Dig lose on the way to Dragon is the question, or will they just get away? And it's like, yeah,
they just have to give it up.
Mord ult's up, but it's not going to happen. Out we go.
Yep.
I think it was a respectable attempt. I think FlyQuest played it correctly, though, as well. Good skill accuracy by toucouille. And it means that you can't go for the Mord ult into Jarvan dives it. So, well done. Crisis averted. 5 more minutes until Dignitas can try again for Dragon Soul.
Yeah, toucouille just kind of playing bodyguard there, playing it really, really well. It is tough, because I agree. If Dignitas were able to actually force that dragon down, get the Mordekaiser, it is their dragon. But the problem is they can't win the all-in fight. They're too far behind. So FlyQuest just never hit the dragon. Just wait until the health bars are so low that if Dignitas did try to force in, they would just get massacred and lose the game. So they are going to lose that dragon. They are still on 3. That is really their big hope in this game, is to try to find somehow, some way, that Dragon Soul to really eliminate a lot of the gold advantage. But if FlyQuest do not let them do it, they're getting further and further ahead here, looking to be in full control of this one. Nearly 6,000 gold ahead is the FTX gold advantage, 26 minutes in. And Corki has another 1,500 gold here in pocket, so may just go back and buy a Hex Shrinker, I would assume. It could be a QSS also, pay attention to the Mord. Just say, hey, like, how could we possibly lose this? Maybe I get caught in a Mord ult and kind of get taken down, but it will instead be that Hex Shrinker, as I kind of expected. Viktor has been putting out a lot of damage, by far the strongest member over on the Dignitas side, so paying some respect to that long range.
We are on the way to a Nashor's Tooth here for Gamsu, so we won't have a lockdown champions. Still, we're actually very partial to rallies or even demonic for damage, but if you can land the auto attacks, it'll be a lot. I think this actually is his best Josedeodo or Tahm Kench fighting item. If you're going for Sin Zhao or Tahm Kench, I think Nashor's probably does the best for you in that regard.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he does get those targets constantly, and then it'll look pretty good if so. Blue gonna try to push in the mid wave now with his team. TP coming back in, as aphromoo is back with the squad. Pretty easy wave clear for the Ravenous Hydra Corki. Not gonna be a problem at all.
Yep, looking strong. 2 items now complete for Johnsun on the Senna as well, as his mythic through after the Umbral Glaive pit stop, as pretty much every Senna is liking to do these days. Just gives you so much additional vision control, right? When you have multiple sweepers plus the Umbral, it's really easy to choke out your opponents on the vision game when you're already ahead. So I'm going to be looking to continue playing towards this top side of the map, playing towards that Baron vision, which Dignitas needs to maintain some semblance of vision. That's why they have so much down in this section of the map. This quadrant becomes incredibly important when your opponents are playing for the Baron, because you need to be able to safely move forward to drop wards in the pit, and that is why FlyQuest is now encroaching into this area. Umbral Glaive popped, so they clear a couple of those shallow wards here, and are going to look to continue to do more. As toucouille sitting on the package, they could potentially even just start up this Baron and try to dare Dignitas to come in while toucouille has package.
All right, well, onto the Raptors for a second there. Careful, EQ is down, but he's going to be fine. Looks like most of the farm went over. Blue Trinket popped because they weren't sure. Okay, they're not killing it yet, but are they killing it now?
They've got one more Blue Trinket. We'll see if that one's going to get popped here too.
And they are killing it now. So, second Trinket popped, and now they have to try. Package, of course, is on. And you're going to look for the poke. Oh, big damage onto River. He's not even allowed into his namesake right now, stuck in his own jungle. And now the TP is going to come in. They're going to try it for their best. Mordekaiser around package will burn this down rather quickly. 4K health, spotted again by the flag. They sit there at 2.5. It's getting
Oh my
really low.
God.
He's got to find his way in. Will there be a fight? Here comes a dive, and no one's going to be allowed in. It should be a smite claimed twice in a row. Now for Josedeodo, a stopwatch buys a second. The 1-for-1 so far is... Oh, wow, yeah, Camille trades back with the Jarvan. As River drops, shots look pretty good.
What is Corki like? What is that champion? That damage is insane.
Mid laner. A level 16 3-hit mid laner, a lot of poke, looking really good. Zoning out the squad, burns down the bear in a 1-for-1 team fight. At that point, by the way, walking faster than recalling, but Gamsu back into the base, and it's time to now start knocking down structures. Dragon Soul, not a threat, at least not yet. 1 minute to go. They are playing up. It is a 4v4. Baron buff on and all. They will knock down the inhibitor. They have time to reset and ensure that Dignitas will not find Dragon Soul.
You just don't miss. It's in everybody walking in there. That one rocket that did about half the health of Blue and Neo, there's just no way you can fight after that. They are getting punished so hard. And he's playing so confidently. He's not even needing the Tahm Kench right next to him. He is walking in, playing very, very aggressively, had the package, daring Dignitas to try something. It's the same as the previous Baron set point. One rocket there, almost 50% of River's health. He did go Frozen Heart, so he's low on HP, doesn't have any MR in the build. Then package back in here as it was about to expire, and just comes around and watch this rocket onto, oh my God. That is straight up half the health, more than half the health onto Neo, and almost half onto Blue. Philip then diving into the back line. toucouille has a really nice W here to reposition, get the angle for the kill. It is traded back onto Philip, but just pushing them back. There's no way in for the Dignitas squad, and they cannot compete on this poke. It's again, though, time to flip it. I think you just commit to this.
Get over to Josedeodo. Where are you? Got to get this one going down. River down a bit low. 2K health, 1700, 1400, 1900, and there we go. Objective bounty claim. Dragon Soul is on. Do Dignitas have to fight is the question now. Josedeodo low, over the wall. The chase down for Gamsu. Gets it with the Q. 4 versus 4, I do believe. Will there be the rest of it?
He's TPing in the base, though.
TPing into the base. Philip wants it. Senna goes down. Will there be a recall for safety? Blue's running for his life. But how can they stop the recall? toucouille is there. He's going to look for Gamsu. This should be an easy kill for him. Still out of the base. Philip at 200 health, but the turrets have left. An unstoppable toucouille. They've got the Corki coming out as well. Nexus is there. Nexus to be attacked. And 2v0. They probably had it anyway. The Dragon Soul claimed, but the base belongs to FlyQuest 3-3.
An exciting end there from FlyQuest. Aphro suiciding to stop the bases as the solo laners get to the Nexus. Finishing off Dignitas there. Another win on the board here. FlyQuest moving to 3-3. What a game, though, from toucouille. It was so good on the Corki. It felt like start to finish, massive farm game early. But when it came to all these objectives, he was always winning out so heavily in the poke battles, was very, very accurate with the rockets. And at the later stages of the game, it just felt like Dignitas had no answer to this guy. They couldn't find the angles to get in on him. River as kind of the solo engage on the J4 was not able to really run in and make anything happen. And Dignitas just had no answers really to this Corki that gets the 4 items, is dominating the 5v5, dominating the poke, chunking them out so low, making a smart call to just end the game there with TPs.
Yeah, your only engagement was the Jarvan himself, and I mean, even without package, you can react to that one every single time. So yeah, playing on the edge was toucouille. Really, really well done. 5-0-3 for the Frenchman in the mid lane. It looks definitely beautiful. 3-3 again, their record. And I mean, what else can you do but give him props for a well-played game? I know this game really flipped off of that one fight in the East jungle where the FLICKR drug over to the Blast Plant, and it's like, the Dignitas chose to fight. Like, they could have let River die and just ran away.
Yeah.
And instead, they stuck around. It was a 4-for-1, and the gold went from like 400 to actually about 4,000 in the span of like what happened off that play, and then it was just like, well, good luck doing anything.
Yeah, that's obviously a really tough one, right? And those mistakes do happen, but I agree. Sometimes it's more important to just give up the one kill and kind of sacrifice that, try to keep your 4-man squad alive, keep those towers alive, because that really snowballed so much of the game. Here is this final fight one more time. I think Dig makes the right call to just force it, right? Yep. You need this to try to get any sort of an option. So the jungler's in the pit. They have the Mord ult onto Josedeodo. They secure the objective bounty. Blue was getting a lot of damage out in this fight. It looked like it was potentially a winning fight, but then it's just a smart call here, from Philip. TP straight into the base. He had about 10% HP. I was thinking he was going to actually look to base and recall, TP back for the fight. Instead, he knows, I don't need any health to fight the towers. We just need to actually stop the ports there. Aphro goes in, gives up his life, but he delays those recalls. There's no Baron recall, so it doesn't really matter. He's just walking into them to stop them.
Yep.
And then as soon as toucouille cleaned up one more man, he joins with his TP as well, guaranteeing the win. So smart finish there from FlyQuest.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm curious, like, who identified it, who made the call? Because I know earlier on, like, the contest for Drake 3 was, I guess, a little bit fumbled, right? Where it's just like, he just TPs away, but it's like, but we have package, we're gonna, okay, never mind, I guess we're just gonna hop away from this one. But yeah, that call was really, really smart. So I am curious. I know we probably will hear from someone at some point, but I want to know if it was his own head or someone else's who got him into the base, because it was a game-winning play, and that's always good to see. Yeah, very good call. So now, as we head to our break, a new episode of Players just dropped on Paramount Plus. If you sign up for a free trial using the code PLAYERS, you'll be able to watch the full season as it releases week by week up through episode 10. Now let's check out a sneak peek, episode 6. See you soon.
The kids that we was making fun of in high school, they rock stars now. We were wrong. What blew my mind was when I found out that these dudes have sex.
It's true, Terry. Yeah, they probably do it like all the time. These guys can get it.
So I just want to say, welcome. You know, I'm glad you're here. You're making the right decision.
I love to hear that. Thank you for having us.
Of course.
It's a real opportunity.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's.
Wonderful.
Knock, knock.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm Kyle. April has told me everything. Look,
What's up?
take a look who's here.
Hi, cream cheese.
Hello.
Or should I say, can I call you Nut Milk?
Oh my God, an OG
gee, fan. Look at that. Fugitive can survive no matter what happens now. But of course, I would love to go with the rich girl with dead parents because I think she gets us.
Welcome back to a wild assist of the week presented by State Farm. 100 Thieves were baiting Baron against Cloud9 and pounced on Berserker getting too curious. Sven quickly repositioned to Wild Growth Berserker, saving his carry and the team fight that led to Baron.
And they catch Berserker out. I asked the question and 100 Thieves deliver the answer, or do they? They try to go after C9, but it's Closer who's stuck in the stasis and punished. Fudge makes his way in and they're looking for even more.